Good morning, everyone. We are at the top of the hour and ready to begin. My name is Karen Berger, and I want to welcome you to CASAS National News and Updates webinar. Today is May 19th, and we have a nice lineup of presentations prepared for you today. Our presenters include Linda Taylor from CASAS, our Vice President of Assessment Development. Also from CASAS, our National Program and Technology Specialist, Janice Farah, and Online Implementation Specialist, Dawn Montgomery, are with us. We are delighted to welcome our colleagues from Palm Beach County, Florida. Specialist and Florida State Certified CASAS Trainer, Daisy Shaw, and Technology Specialist and Florida State Certified CASAS Trainer, Linda Garcia. They will be sharing with us some strategies to help prevent student test anxiety. Thank you, Daisy and Linda, for joining, and we are looking forward to what you have to share. This slide shows a few features of the Zoom webinar. The first point is that your microphones are muted due to the large numbers. The best way to communicate with us with questions about the presentations is through the Q&A. Any questions that are not answered during the webinar will be added to our frequently asked questions on the website. The chat box is only to be used for technical difficulties while using Zoom. If you would like copies of today's presentation and resources to download, we will put those links in the chat. This is a little graphic to show your Zoom toolbar and controls. Of particular interest is the green bubble highlighting the Q&A, which we already mentioned. This is where you can post your questions about the presentations. Then going from left to right, there's a button at the bottom of your screen where you can check your audio settings. Then the chat feature, which as I mentioned, should only be used for if you're having technical difficulties with Zoom. We will not be using the raise hand feature today due to the large numbers in attendance. So this next slide shows what the Q&A will look like. As you can see at the top, you can click back and forth to see your own questions and answers, or to see all questions and answers. We will be recording this webinar and it will be posted early tomorrow. You can go to casas.org to view today's and previous webinars on the CASAS News and Updates page. Now I'll hand the meeting over to Linda.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. We have a number of great topics to share with you. First of all, we're going to talk about test development and field testing. Then, as we mentioned, we have a presentation on strategies to help prevent student test anxiety and staff anxiety as well. We have some updates on TOPS Pro Enterprise, eTests, training. I'm sure you're all eager to hear about the Summer Institute, and we'll be talking about that as well. Remote testing update and some other CASAS news. So let's begin. On test development, we have something new on our website, which is a statement explaining CASAS's fairness and equity practices. And as you can see, a lot of the efforts that we do in this regard relate to our test development. So we do our best to ensure fairness and equity in all of our test items and test forms, and across all of the various test types, multiple choice, all the different types of tests that we offer. And in terms of when these things take place, it can be during the item review process, where we have practitioners, subject matter experts from various diverse backgrounds who review every single item. We do some psychometric analyses. One of them is called DIF, that looks for bias, and there's others. And then in working through our score interpretation guidelines, we also do our best to make sure that the uses of the test and how they're administered also reflect fairness and equity. We also do ongoing review of our items and tests to see if, especially with the DIF, to make sure that nothing has changed. So you are welcome to look this up. It's in the What's New column on the far right now of the CASAS website if you'd like to take a look at this fairness and equity statement that's posted there. Now on to our NRS approved tests. Hopefully this is familiar to all of you. that our reading goals for ABE and ASE is approved through 2025. The math goals through 2023. And for ESL, we have Life and Work Reading 80 series, the Beginning Literacy 27 and 28, which most of you do use. You may not be familiar with this, the language reading for language arts, but it's also approved if you'd like to look into that. And then Life and Work Listening for those of you who use it, the 980 series. So these are all approved through 2023, that is February, and will continue through June as far as we understand. Now, I want to give you an update on not only our current, but also our next goals series and their status. So the reading goals for ABE and ASE, we are already working on the next version of that. It's in development, and soon you'll start to see some of these new test questions embedded on operational forms, which is how we initially go about field testing them. For math, we have developed a new series, which is actually 5 levels, and we are planning to submit that for NRS approval, not this October, but the following of 2022. We would have liked to submit it earlier, but because of the pandemic, it's, as you can imagine, been difficult to do the item and form field testing that we've had to do. So we've had to delay that until next year. For ESL, we have the final form studies for the new versions. This ESL reading and listening goals are replacing the Life and Work. And we plan to submit that not this October, but the following. So how can you help? We really need your help for these listening and reading for ESL test forms, because without your assistance, we know, you're struggling to do your own testing, but we hope that you might be able to make some space in your busy schedules to help us to do the studies on these listening and reading new goals forms for ESL. So those are right now, that's happening, and it was interrupted a year ago, but we really hope that we'll be able to restart that. And if you are interested, it's a way for you to see these new forms, also 5 levels each. It's a way for your students to get some practice with testing. They'll get a $5 gift card for each test that they take. And also there are complimentary web test units for your program. So there's information on the website about this. And if you do want to get involved, please contact Karen Berger at this address. You can see on the What's New panel, there's a button to click about this. You can expect a global email on this topic very soon. And one new thing that we'll be asking for is for your help to do some field test forms for math. So that's something that's at the top of our wish list right now, as well as the ESL reading and listening. Also, you may have noticed that there are some unscored embedded field test items in operational test forms, and that is the most efficient way for us to test new items, to field test them. Where we need your help, and we've been saying this now for a while, and actually I want to tell you that it has improved. We are getting more of this essential data so that we can use more of the results that are coming in, and that speeds up the process tremendously. So thank you all. For those of you who already are collecting this information, whether you have to do it as part of your state requirement, or whether you've added it on based on our ardent requests in the last several months. But if you haven't yet and you would be willing, we would really appreciate it if you could add these on. It only has to be entered one time by the student, the first test they take, and we can certainly help you to set this up if you need that from us. Now, I'm very excited to share with you that we have some new writing assessments that we're going to be rolling out at some point in the near future. One of them we call the written prompt essay. It has been used in the NEDP's diagnostic phase, and with great success, I should say. It's working very well. It will be only in CASAS eTests and not on paper. In this assessment, a student types in an essay in response to a written prompt, and it takes 45 minutes to an hour. But the very exciting aspect of this, which I think is unique in the field of adult ed right now, is that these essays are auto-scored. That means the result comes back literally in a matter of seconds. So I would like to suggest that you take a look at this when we are able to roll it out. And that's, as I said, sometime this summer, we're hoping. It is not for NRS reporting at this time. And we think that you'll find some very interesting uses for this essay. The other writing assessment that we're very excited to share with you is a writing and language test. It's multiple choice. It will be aligned to the CCR writing and language standards that are relevant for that kind of assessment. Some possible uses are to screen students to see if they're ready to pass the GED, HiSET, or TASC exam, or transition to post-secondary training or to work where they might need writing skills. Of course, we all do because we're all writing emails no matter what level of work we have. So there's a demand for that. Also, another possible use is to assist in placing students in guiding instruction. There will be some diagnostic reporting on this test as well as on the essay as well. And so you'll be able to monitor progress. Teachers are often not able to spend the time to score a writing assessment. So we're excited that this will be a possibility to give you that information about your student skills. We're planning 2 test levels. It's going to be pretty short, this test, but hopefully we'll give you enough information to make some decisions about students and help you guide their instruction. Again, currently not for NRS reporting and it's available sometime this summer. Then if you're not already aware, we do have some citizenship assessments. 2 of them are actually have been used in California for the EL Civics program, and some of you around the country are taking advantage of these assessments. The first one is a speaking test that simulates, it's a role play really of the actual USCIS oral interview. The second one is based on the 100 questions. It's a multiple choice test with a listening component. And the third test is this reading for citizenship, which is reading comprehension. It's only this last one that you can use for NRS pre and post testing for accountability reporting. And the benefit of this is if your students are studying hard for citizenship and learning that vocabulary, then they can take their tests at this level A, just the beginning level, with the vocabulary that they're learning. So if you're not already aware of this, it's something you might consider adding to your repertoire. All right, now I am very honored to introduce Daisy Shah and Linda Fermo Garcia. They have prepared a presentation about preventing test anxiety. And now we're going to, they pre-recorded this, so we're going to show that. And afterwards, I'm going to ask them a question, a couple questions, and then you'll have a chance to ask them additional questions in the Q&A. So let's go ahead and watch this. I think you'll find a really instructive video about their program.
Hi, I'm Linda Garcia. Daisy and I would like to thank Linda Taylor and the CASAS team for inviting us to speak with you this afternoon. We will be exploring the strategies we use in Palm Beach County to reduce test anxiety for both our staff and our students. Many students joining our programs have had negative experiences in the educational setting, especially with testing. One of the ways we have discovered to reduce this anxiety is to offer excellent customer service from the initial inquiries through graduation. Daisy's going to discuss some of the strategies we use to help students deal with the negative connotations of testing by incorporating excellent customer service into every facet of the student experience.
Thank you, Linda. We're all familiar with the phrase quality customer service is key, and that certainly applies in our adult education programs as well. That is because our students are our customers. Without our students, we have no program. Therefore, customer service is critical in our interactions with the students. It begins with that initial phone call that they may have made to inquire about the programs, or maybe they use the online chat option on your website, or they connected with your marketing team on social media. So our sites have to know how to serve them using different platforms and resources. Our sites like to ensure that they provide the learners with the program information in a calm, professional, and a timely manner. In an effort to prevent anxiety while answering questions or assisting our students, our staff is patient and respectful. Customer service is a team effort as it represents your program's image and mission. Therefore, it is crucial that your staff is prepared to welcome and serve the learners during the busy weeks of registration and testing. Clearly communicate, set expectations, and create a welcoming, fun learning environment. Our sites ensure that their staff has received proper training and that they are CASAS certified depending on their role in the intake and testing process. Our sites ensure that their staff has enough supplies such as paper, pens, etc., and all materials, including technology, are ready prior to the students arriving on campus. Now, let's take a look at our orientation and intake process. Adult English language learners not only face the challenge of learning a new language, but they also have to adjust to an unfamiliar cultural setting and school system. So, here are some strategies for supporting the smooth and positive entry of our new arrivals. Our sites have multiple signs posted in several languages to welcome their students and point them in the right direction on campus. Our sites have greeters available who greet these learners with a big smile as they're walking onto our campuses and answer any questions that the students may have. While working with ELLs, it's always a good idea to have translators present at the site to assist during the busy times of registration and testing. Some of our sites use their current adult ed students to assist with translation and help our new students. This allows for our current students to practice their communication skills while they're assisting the new students. In return, the sites offer the current students with incentives for helping out. Here in Palm Beach County, several of our adult ESOL classes are offered at local high schools during the evening hours. Some of the adult ESOL programs at the high schools will have their 12th grade seniors assist with translation and other simple tasks in return for volunteer hours that they need to graduate. So be creative, be proactive, and make sure you create an environment and a culture where students feel welcomed and supported. In an effort to reduce or prevent test anxiety, our sites conduct an assessment orientation. This is when we communicate with the students and provide them with a brief synopsis on how the overall assessment process works, from intake to placement, so there are no surprises and the students are mentally and emotionally prepared. At this time in Palm Beach County, we are not doing remote testing as all of our sites are administering on-site testing. However, the strategies that we are sharing can be easily implemented in face-to-face and the remote modality. The intake process may slightly differ from state to state, however, the rules are pretty much the same. Our intake administrators have the intake tools printed out and they are fully prepared even before the students arrive to the lab. After introducing themselves, intake administrators offer excellent customer service by being calm, being discreet while grading students' performance, and following the proper guidelines. Intake administrators do not rush the student, nor do they rush through the process. They encourage the students to try their best. Upon completing the intake process, the intake administrators communicate the next steps. Once our students have gone through the intake process and we have determined that they're going to take the CASAS eTest online in the computer lab, we have them watch this introductory video. We are going to play the English one for you today. We also have these clips available in Spanish and Haitian Creole.
Hi, I'm Chris Binnix, and inside this video, I'll explain why the CASAS test is important for you, what the CASAS test is, and how it affects your academic track. Keep watching. Welcome. The CASAS test is very important for you as a student. The CASAS is an assessment tool to gauge your knowledge of English reading and listening. The information gathered from the CASAS helps us guide you on your academic track. It gives us insight to the areas where you excel and those areas that need development. Let's discuss some of the best practices that will help you get the most out of the CASAS test. We will ask you a few questions to determine which CASAS test is for you. The CASAS is computerized and administered at the school site. When you're taking the CASAS, be sure to take your time. The CASAS test is multiple choice and requires listening. So read through all the material and listen carefully. Each section is timed, and you'll have up to 2.5 hours to complete the entire test. Do not guess on a question you do not know the answer. By chance, if you choose the correct answer, the results may not reflect your true skill level. Remember, this is not a pass or fail test. This is only a tool to help us guide your instruction. Once you've completed the CASAS test, your results will be evaluated and the proper program will be selected for you. You'll be post-tested periodically to track your progress through the program. If you have any questions or concerns about the CASAS test, please consult the school where you registered. Accommodations for extended time, audio, braille, and others are available with proper documentation. Have a great academic journey, and I'll see you inside the next video.
Tying it back to quality customer service and communication, we like to provide the students with some additional information before they go to the testing lab in an effort to reduce anxiety. We inform them that the CASAS assessment is about 2 hours long, reading and listening, all multiple choice. That it is not a pass or fail assessment, it is utilized for placement purposes. We want to place them in a level that is going to best meet their academic needs and where they are going to be most successful. We inform the students that children, friends, family members, and food are not allowed in the testing lab so they can make arrangements accordingly. We let them know which lab to report to, or one of our volunteers will walk them to the computer lab that they are to report to. However, if the student is unable to stay the same day to take the CASAS assessment, we provide them with a CASAS assessment flyer. We created the CASAS assessment flyer for the students who need to return at a later date. This flyer answers some basic questions and contains information about the assessment in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. And in the bottom is a ticket we fill out so they know when to return and what lab to report to. Now, Linda is going to share tips and tricks on using technology and reducing student anxiety in the computer lab.
Henry Kissinger once said, "There cannot be a stressful crisis next week. My schedule is already full." To avoid a crisis is to be prepared to meet the challenge. Working in the computer lab, there are several steps before, during, and after our staff can complete to minimize the possibility of increasing stress levels. Following these steps will allow both the lab coordinator and the students to have a positive testing experience. As we said earlier, Palm Beach County is doing face-to-face on-site testing. So we have incorporated all of the CDC guidelines for testing in our computer labs. Our safety protocols include distancing students by assigning them to every other computer or every 2 computers, depending on the size of the computer lab. Each station is also sanitized after it's been used. Because the computer labs are a shared resource with K-12, we always conduct a sound check before we open the lab for testing. Lab managers will activate the eTest sessions and register computers into the various sessions. Each testing station is clearly marked, indicating which session that computer has been registered into. This will allow the student to be seated with a minimum amount of distraction during the testing process. Students are given an envelope for their belongings. Cell phones are turned off and placed into the envelopes. The envelopes are placed under the chair or at the front of the room, depending on site policy. Desks need to be cleared at all times in order to minimize distractions. We, at the district level, create all of the sessions at the end of June for use at the beginning of July. This allows consistency across the district, maintaining that excellent customer service for our staff and students. Each site will register a number of testing stations into each session to accommodate any students to be tested that evening based on the intake results. Here is the testing intake ticket we have created in Palm Beach County to use for the testing lab. Intake staff completes the ticket based on the intake results, allowing the student to be placed in the correct testing session. Once the lab manager introduces themselves and welcomes the student to the room, the ticket allows the lab manager to escort the student to the correct system with a minimum of discussion while in the testing room. Assisting students with logging into the computer gives you valuable information on their technology skills. Many of our students have difficulty working with the mouse. We have found this valuable resource which allows students to actually practice their mouse skills. Not only do we reduce anxiety by allowing our students to practice their mouse skills, we also give them the opportunity to go ahead and take the sample test items in the CASAS eTest environment. We want them to be able to showcase their reading and listening skills on the assessment. Giving them the tools to reach that goal will assist in reducing testing anxiety. During the test, it's important to make sure all of the safety protocols are followed. Students should know that staff will be walking around the lab to monitor. Students needing assistance in working with the technology need to raise their hand and whisper if they need assistance. We want to make sure all distractions are minimized by using inside voices. Once students complete testing, they should be congratulated. Starting a new chapter and initiating change is not easy on any level. Offering excellent customer service reminds students what their next steps will be. Some sites offer a welcome call from the teacher. Other sites have all the new students gather in the media center and have volunteers walk them to their classrooms. Whichever method the site uses for students, they need to be aware of what their next steps will be. After the assessment, remind students that we'll be discussing their strengths and exploring their educational goals. Their instructors will be working closely with them to set goals and monitor their progress. Instructors will also be working with them on test-taking strategies, and the work they will be doing in the classroom will allow them to reach their goals. After 70 hours of instructions, students will be post-tested. Teachers work to prepare the students by encouraging and cheering the students on. This is your chance to shine, to show what it is that you've learned throughout the term. Let students know that how well they do is a reflection on the community that you've actually created within the classroom. It's okay for them to move on to a new instructor if they move on to a new level. The post-test is a tool only to show how well they have done and to make sure that they are on track to reach their goals. Currently, in Palm Beach County, we're only doing face-to-face on-site testing. The strategies we have discussed today are also applicable to a remote testing environment. CASAS has created resources that are available for remote testing that allows you to continue offering excellent customer service no matter where the student is testing. Inevitably, things will become hectic. Be calm and think of your customer service. Here are some additional resources that you can use when you're looking at how to reduce test anxiety in your own program. Please let us know if you have any questions pertaining to any of the strategies we've explored today.
Thank you so much, Daisy and Linda. That was a wonderful presentation. And now I want to ask you a couple questions. One is, you want to come on with your video if you can?
We
Nice to
are.
have you.
We're there.
There you are. All right, on site and all masked up. God bless you. So here's a question. What was the greatest challenge for your staff in reducing the stress of the assessment process?
We find that the greatest challenge for our staff has to do with the language barrier. And by having most of the materials prepared in the language or the native languages for the students helps to reduce the test anxiety, both for the staff as well as the student. And our staff has been very creative in finding different ways to address that particular barrier by utilizing the students or current students or the senior students at the different high schools, as well as, if those resources aren't available, using Google Translate. So it may not be the best tool that's out there right now, but it's the most available for them to help the students get to where they need to be.
Fantastic. It's very innovative. A great idea. Daisy, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think Linda pretty much covered everything for the staff side of things.
All right. And how about for students? What do you think is their greatest challenge in reducing stress related to assessment?
So with students, so like we mentioned, we're not doing remote testing, but students are able to attend classes virtually at this time. And since the pandemic, what we've realized is that we're teaching and focusing more on the digital literacy skills. Our sites are using several innovative tools and resources to communicate with the learners. And online learning is certainly more convenient for the students because they don't have to worry about childcare or commuting, which are some of our biggest barriers that our adult learners face. And online learning has also been flexible for the students who have busy work schedules, which is again also one of the barriers that our adult learners face. Because recorded lessons and meetings along with self-paced activities and assignments have been really helpful.
Great. And I think, did you want to say something about the resources from your session that you'll be sharing them?
Sure. So we're going to go ahead and share them with the CASAS team, and they will post them on their webinars page, right?
Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you all so much. And you'll be standing by in case people have more questions or comments. You can put them in the Q&A, and Daisy and Linda will be ready to answer them. So now we're going to move to a presentation about the TE Start page. And Janice Farah from CASAS is going to present that to you.
The newest version of TOPS Pro Enterprise includes a few updates to a feature that maybe you don't know much about yet. It's called the TE Start Page. Click on View, Start Page, and we'll bring it up. The Start Page consists of 4 different columns: How To, Shortcuts, Announcements, and Alerts and Notifications. Alerts and Notifications is an area that functions like an electronic billboard. CASAS will post information and reminders for you here, such as the release notes. You can see that we've added color coding to these alerts to highlight if you've read them or not. Unread messages here appear as read. It also shows the date that the notification was published. Now, agencies can create and customize announcements also, either at the agency or the site level. To do this, let's review. You go into Organization, Announcements, and this shows you a list of any that are currently saved or displayed. To create a new one, we can click in the top left corner, New, and it's going to quickly take us to the panel that allows us to customize it. And there are lots of different features for making the information look different, but we're going to publish immediately a basic announcement that's like a reminder for a meeting, perhaps. And maybe we'll include the Zoom information up at the top when we save it. And now this is going to be published immediately at the agency level. So we can go back to the Start Page to see what it'll look like and click on this little icon here, which says Refresh Content. And there it is. Anyone who logs into TOPS Pro Enterprise after the time you've published it will see this. They can click on it and there'll be the meeting reminder, and there's the Zoom we've created. Click on the red X to close it. Now let's say you want to make it automatically expire. So we can go back to that meeting, and there was an option we didn't use called Expires On. So let's say we wanted to expire on the Monday following the meeting. We can save that up here at the top. And now this meeting announcement has an expiration date, which will automatically make it so that it doesn't appear on the start date after the meeting is concluded. So that's the announcements and the alerts column. Over on the right are 2 handy columns. One is called How To, and the other is called Shortcuts. And these are ways for users to quickly jump to the right place in TOPS Pro Enterprise. So let's say you want to edit a student's spelling of their last name. That would be in the demographics lister. And you could just click here and it would take you there. Lots of other quick ways to jump into the proper listers. Experienced users might not need this, so you can click up here in the red X to hide this column. Finally, we'll talk about shortcuts. Shortcuts are a way for you to see what were the listers that you've recently used. And you can see that announcements is the last one we just accessed. Recent reports, these might be reports that I've ran in the last week or two. But let's say I have 2 favorite reports. You can customize this list by using the wizard. You go up to Reports, Report Locator Wizard. And this takes you to a panel showing all the different reports in TOPS Pro Enterprise. But the best way to use this is to use a keyword. Let's say I'm looking for a report that talks about scoring. The personal score report. That's the one I want. I can click on it and add it to my reports and then close. And you'll see now under my reports that now the personal score report has been added to my list. That's a quick run through of the TE Start Page. Thank you.
Let's now welcome Don Montgomery from the CASAS office to give us an update on eTests, which is about how to replicate testing sessions. And following that, she'll give a training update on a couple of topics.
Great, thank you, Linda. Yes, so the next slide will continue on to show you that as the current program year comes to a close, it's time to think about getting ready for testing with CASAS eTests in the new program year starting July 1. The most effective way to do this is to follow these steps that you see on this slide, along with using the help documentation as your guide and viewing the accompanying video. You'll be ready in no time. To start, review your current testing session templates. That's the baseline, that's the foundation of all of your testing sessions. You want to review that first in the current program year to make any changes necessary to go into effect for the new program year. This is also where we encourage you to be sure that you are collecting gender, native language, ethnicity, and race to contribute to the ongoing research and development of our new test series. And you would make those settings specifically on the testing session templates. And now you would also want to review the testing sessions using those templates, such as your pre-test and your post-test sessions, to confirm their settings. Then use the Batch Replicate Wizard to copy your entire set of testing sessions for your entire agency into the new program year. It's as simple as that. We'll watch the video to demonstrate.
This demonstration will show TE data managers how to use the Batch Replication Wizard to copy their eTest sessions into the new program year. The data manager will first need to log into TopsRow Enterprise, close the Start page, click on Organization, and then select Testing Sessions. In the Program Year column, click the filter icon, select the previous program year, then click OK. The data manager can then click on the first test session, hold down the Control key and type the letter A to select all the test sessions, or the data manager can click on a test session, hold down the Control key and select individual test sessions, or the data manager can click on one test session, hold the Shift key down, and then select a batch. Click the More button in the upper right-hand corner and click Batch Replicate. The data manager can verify the sessions that will be replicated. The operation is automatically set to replicate sessions into new program year, and the program year is already selected. The data manager will then click Replicate Sessions. Click Yes to confirm the replication. Once the replication has been completed, the data manager will click OK. For more information about eTest Online, you can go to the CASAS website, www.casas.org, click on Training and Support, and select eTest Online Help. You can also email training@casas.org.
Okay, so folks, that video was from at the end of last program year. And so you'll want to be sure and select the 2021-22 program year to replicate your session. So that's just kind of a little note there. Now, for the training update, we have two training updates for you today. One is on retrieving a copy of your training certificate, and the other is accessing an index of helpful training materials. So looking for your training certificate? Well, you can retrieve a copy at any time throughout the program year by returning to the training site and logging on to your training. Scroll down to the bottom of the module homepage and click the Certificate of Completion link. This opens up the certificate window to access a copy of your certificate. And just like when you initially completed your training, click the Get My Certificate button, and your certificate will display in the pop-up window where you can print and download your certificate. I'll demonstrate that for you after talking about the next update. A while ago, we started gathering our help documentation from different areas on the CASAS website to create an index of helpful training materials on the training website. This allowed us to match documentation with video demos. This project is ongoing, so you will want to be sure and visit frequently as we are adding new items daily. If you don't find what you need, let us know. So now, let me quickly demonstrate for you how to retrieve a copy of your certificate and access the index. From the training website, scroll down to the training that you've completed and you need to retrieve a copy of your certificate. Click on the training title. You are prompted to log in with your CASAS website login credentials. Scroll down to the very bottom of the module homepage, click the Certificate of Completion link, and you'll see when your certificate was initially issued, but to get a copy, go ahead and click Get Your Certificate. As you see in this pop-up window, a copy of my certificate is displayed. I can click the download icon to download and save it to my computer, as well as print it right then and there. That's how you retrieve a copy of your certificate. And now very quickly, I'm going to go back to the training website homepage, or landing page here, as quickly as my computer will catch up. Let's see here. It should be catching up quickly. Sorry about the delay, folks. Okay, and scrolling down, we have these different module categories. So you want to just scroll past those categories there and come to Help Documentation and Videos. Click on Help Documentation and Videos. And this opens the index. The index is searchable. Eventually, we'll add more categories to make it, to enhance this index even more. But for right now, you can search for information by using this index, the alphabetical index. So you can see here, we've gathered some videos here. But as an example, any program that is currently implementing CASAS eTests, we have the list, the going live checklist here available for you. Here are the first steps. Here's a quick video overview. And then we have the next step. So we have the help documentation right here. Click on that. You'll get a copy of the PDF. And then view the accompanying video. So we've added videos to accompany each of those next steps when you are going live. And there's much more in the index, but we don't have time to cover them all, so I'll turn it back over to Linda. Thank you so much, folks. Don't hesitate to inquire about any of the information I presented at the training desk at training@casas.org. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Now, what maybe you've all been waiting to hear about, the Summer Institute. We have Janice to share that with us.
Thank you, Linda. Very happy to be talking today about the CASAS Summer Institute. If any of you have not attended, it is an inspiring two-week presentation, which we have over 900 registrants already with over 100 sessions planned, which are spread across, as you can see the dates, across 2 weeks. It starts on a Thursday, the 17th, and then it continues on Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd. The focus is on training and networking. So let's take a look at what we've planned for you. Two events that I want to highlight are the kickoff session, which is on Wednesday, June 16th, and the keynote, which is on Tuesday, the 22nd. The kickoff happens the day before the conference begins. It's going to be hosted by Nicole Jordan and Jennifer Suarez of CASAS. They will be discussing the Whova app that we're going to be using as our platform. They'll teach you how to navigate the agenda to add sessions to your professional calendar. It's a fun event. They're going to be also talking about tips for combating Zoom fatigue and also a raffle for those in attendance. Also, the keynote speaker is at 1 o'clock, but that's the second week on June the 22nd, featuring Josh Davies from the Center for Work Ethic Development. Take a look at the agenda. It's posted now. Registration is also online. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the tech labs. If you've been to Summer Institute before, you remember that we would have 50 people all in a room together taking a training. Well, we can't do that this year. So what we're doing is we're modifying and adjusting the training so that they can be delivered to you remotely. These are bite-sized lessons that are taught by CASAS staff and the certified trainers. So take a look at that schedule there. There's a little bit of room in there for you to do your regular job in between and afterwards. There are also multi-hour certification trainings, which Dawn will be discussing in just a minute. So next slide, thank you. Yes, the Tech Lab trainings, there's something for everyone. There's overviews for beginners, there's skills training, including TE and eTests, accountability trainings, product development news, and certifications. Covering a wide range of topics, these sessions are presented free of charge, and we will be posting plenty of handouts and notes since these sessions will probably not be recorded. And the overviews for beginners thread, we'll be talking about TOPS Pro Enterprise, introduction to proctoring, remote testing overview, and a TE overview for administrators. These sessions are helpful for newly hired staff or anyone who needs a refresher. Digging a little deeper, these are the sessions that cover the nuts and bolts of the CASAS suite of software products, going into a lot more detail. Again, notes and presentations will be included on the CASAS website. The accountability trainings teach you how to analyze and use your data to fine-tune your agency's effectiveness. These reports give you information so that you can create quantifiable targets for your agency to make improvements. We'll be partnering with the California Department of Education and sharing some specific California reporting sessions as well. Slide's still building, thank you. The product development, well, hats off to our developers. Transcripts and the student portal are projects which are gaining steam. So we'll be presenting 2 sessions with Richard Ackerman, who will be just giving you a preview on those tools. And this year we added TE Innovations, which is a review of several of the features that we added in the past year to TOPS Pro Enterprise, but you might not be fully utilizing it. So check out that presentation as well. That's pretty much it for me. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat box and I'll be glad to answer them. And passing it back to you, Dawn. I mentioned the certification trainings. She's going to discuss that next. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Janice. Yes, so to tag on, Janice gave you all the many reasons to join us for Summer Institute for technology training, and I'll be covering implementation training at our National Summer Institute. But let me just first remind folks, or to inform folks who may possibly not be aware, is that to meet the need for individuals who prefer to be trained as part of a group with a trainer, we developed live facilitated training to meet your implementation requirements. Live facilitated training is offered as standalone trainings, that is module 1, 2, 3, or 4 in 2-hour settings each, or tandem trainings, combining modules required for each type of implementation, such as module 1 followed by module 2 for CASAS eTest implementation in one setting, module 1 followed by module 3 for paper test implementation, and module 1 followed by module 4 for instructional implementation. Each combined tandem training is delivered in 3-hour settings. Both standalone and tandem trainings cover the same content and both end in certification. We also offer live facilitated training for our workforce skills certification system, which includes implementation training as well as technical training combined in 2 settings. Now, to see the latest schedule for live facilitated training, go to the CASAS website, and from the home page under the What's New caption, click the live facilitated training link. This takes you to the landing page for live facilitated training as shown on the next slide. From there, you'll see the latest postings for TOPS Pro Enterprise. We'll be posting registration for the next TE Basics session soon, so please check back. Also, we invite you to join us for our first virtual National Summer Institute, as we have been talking about. We will be offering these live facilitated trainings for all our implementation training modules in June, in both standalone and tandem training settings. Next, which is presented on this slide, the schedule for August and September live facilitated trainings. Actually, roll back one more, Linda. The schedule for August and September live facilitated trainings is available for registration, and registration for these sessions will be available soon. So for June 17th and 18th, we will be offering quite a lot of options for you to get your implementation training in for them during the month of June. And then the next slide, as Linda showed, this is the schedule for the live facilitated trainings scheduled in August and September so that you can plan ahead for staff training. And then the last slide that I will talk about is certainly not the least, not the last, but certainly not the least. Another good reason to join us at the Summer Institute, which is the next slide here. Because at the Summer Institute, you have access to many workshops and panels for your overall professional development. We are so excited, not only for week 1 with implementation and technology training, but week 2 as well, with many options for you to choose from. The cost for attending our virtual Summer Institute covers both weeks, June 17 and 18, as well as June 22nd and 23rd. Both weeks of technology, filled with technology and implementation training and fabulous workshops and panels. This is a wonderful opportunity, folks, that you won't want to miss.
Thank you, Dawn. All right, we have a very short video from Robert Breitbart from Burlington English.
Hello, CASAS and friends of CASAS. Robert Breitbart here, Director of Educational Partnerships with Burlington English. I'm coming up on 20 years now of attending the fantastic CASAS Summer Institute. If you're like me and have attended the past, you know why after the first one, you circle the calendar each and every year for the next one. If you haven't been in attendance before, then you definitely must join us. I know of absolutely no other opportunity to learn not only how to get the very most from CASAS, but also to learn about innovative best practices in so many different areas of adult education. You'll also find something truly special and unique about the Summer Institute, a chance to interact with adult educators in an incredibly friendly and collegial way, ones that I've not found just about any place else. And to boost these great feelings, we at Burlington English are thrilled to sponsor Tremendous Trivia Tuesday. Mark your calendars for Tuesday, June 22nd, at 3 p.m. Pacific time, as we bring off the charts fun to this already incredible event. Watch for more information to come your way on this. So please register now for the 2021 CASAS Summer Institute. I promise you'll love it as much as I do. See you there.
Thank you, Robert. always very enthusiastic about the Summer Institute. Just a couple things to share. We are at the top of the hour, but some of you may have already heard about this, but this is so important for you to inform your colleagues and students about this opportunity to get to increase their broadband. We know that the internet has been a big challenge for our students, and this is some federal support to help them get more. So I'm not going to go through all the details here, but you will be able to see it on the website when you go to look at these slides. And this already began, and it's something that will give our students a boost to help them to improve their broadband, to get or to improve their broadband service. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, just going to scroll through really quickly, that our next, oops, this is going the wrong way maybe. Our next national webinar is August 18th. So we have our Summer Institute, as you've heard, next month in June. We're going to take a break in July, as I hope you all will too. And then we'll be back on the 18th of August with the next one. So we look forward to hosting you then and catching you up on what's new. For right now, if there are any unanswered questions in the Q&A, we'll stay on to answer those. And once they have been completed, we will end the webinar. So thanks so much for taking time to attend today, and hope it was interesting for you in the work the very important work that you do. Thank you so much.